Good evening, and welcome to the Thursday, August 2nd meeting of TV Toastmasters. My name is Michelle Lewis. I'm the president of TV Toastmasters, and I'm here to call the meeting to order. TV Toastmasters meets the first Thursday and the third Saturday of the month. On the first Thursday, we meet at 6 p.m. at the Anderson Community Center television station at 7855 Mile Road. On Saturdays, we meet at 9 a.m. at the same location, that's 7855 Mile Road. So please come check us out. Today we have a great meeting in store. I'm going to go ahead, without further ado, and introduce you our Toastmaster for this evening's meeting, Mr. Rick Barron.
Thank you, Michelle. It is an honor and a privilege today to be here at the meeting because I am the only male among 5 young ladies here today. So this is a Toastmaster first for me, crashing a female meeting. I love it. My role as Toastmaster is to do the segues, the introductions, to be the person who leads the meeting, keeps us on track, and helps us finish on time. The first person that I would like to introduce today is our word, all-counter, and grammarian, Carol Cormelink. Carol?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and our at-home viewing audience. Come visit us so you can be in the studio also. My word of the day today is, thanks to Janet Kaplan at our noon meeting of the Cincinnati Communicators, she used flip-flop. I like that. I thought it was a good word. It could be a noun, a verb, or an adverb. And it means to reverse your position, opinion, or belief, or to, she got that because looking at the Olympics and all the gymnasts flip-flopping on the parallel bars, so she thought it was a good word of the day. And to use it in a sentence, if you did a backwards somersault, that's a flip-flop. To use it in a sentence, the politician said, I didn't flip-flop my position. I couldn't remember what I previously said. So I will be counting how many times you used the word of the day, and the sheet that I am using I've got from the Hawaii club that I visited when I was in Hawaii last week. And they fine 5 cents per error and 25 cents for not using the word of the day, or a maximum of 50 cents a meeting. I said, being treasurer, I don't want to pay attention to all that petty, so I don't advocate that we do that. But I will be counting your ands on all the killer filler words, buts, ors, double clutches when you start a sentence, I, and repeat it, the word of the day, and that will use flip-flop. The challenge is to use flip-flop whenever you get up here. And I used a lot of flip-flops, and I bought these leather ones in Hawaii. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Carol. I will not be doing a flip-flop up here. Gymnastics was not one of those sports that I gravitated towards as a youth. Most of us are watching the Olympics, experiencing those wonderful moments. And as Tabletopics Master, I have an opportunity to ask some impromptu questions of our audience members. Tabletopics is an opportunity for our members to practice their impromptu speaking skills. Sitting in that meeting, when the manager turns and looks to you and says, Rick, what do you think? Or maybe it's that cocktail party where somebody just catches you off guard and you've got to come up with a witty answer. This is our opportunity to practice, not to flip-flop, to answer the question directly as it was stated. My first question today relates to the Olympics. With all the coverage that we have, television and the internet and cable, there's so many ways that we get to experience that window of elation and excitement as these athletes put that crowning triumph in their careers. And if you think back over time, you probably witnessed some of those through your lifetime. Michelle Lewis, would you mind sharing one of those Olympic triumphs that you had a chance to witness in your lifetime?
Certainly. The Olympics are definitely one of my favorite times of every 4 years, I should say. And I have to recall, since I'm still fairly young, or I like to consider myself still fairly young, is the most decorated athlete of all time, Mr. Michael Phelps, who's still participating in this Olympics. So he actually became the most decorated Olympian this Olympics. So it was, I guess, over the weekend. Was it over the weekend, maybe? So that, to me, is pretty astounding. Pretty phenomenal feat to be the most decorated person of all time. Now, the pressure associated with that. We also know that he didn't quite come out his first event and receive the gold medal like he was supposed to, because everybody's watching and talking about it. So the gentleman who won the gold medal actually had less publicity than Michael Phelps, because everybody was so, oh, can you believe he didn't win it? Can you believe he was fourth, et cetera, et cetera. So I have to say, seeing Michael Phelps become the most decorated athlete, Olympian of all time, is one of those feats.
Thank you, Michelle. On the radio, on my way here, they announced that the United States had taken leadership in the medal race. 37 overall medals to China's 34. We're still tied for gold. China's ahead in silver, but we're a little bit further ahead in bronze. In addition, while listening to the radio this morning, I learned that we, as taxpayers, compensate Olympic medal winners. I didn't know that. That if you get a gold medal, we write you a check for $25,000. $25,000 measly dollars for the effort that went in to being one of our finest athletes. What do you think of the practice of compensating Olympic athletes, and how much do you think that they should be given? Carol Cormelink.
Thank you, Rick. One of the nice things about table topics is the ability to flip-flop to another question. I have not been watching the Olympics. I wanted to, but I just haven't taken the time to do that. I think that to be compensated for winning a gold medal, I'm amazed, because I think you would do it for the pride of being the best and not for a monetary prize. I'm quite surprised that they do pay them, because that wouldn't be why I would want to be in the Olympics. It would be because I want to be the best in the world in doing that. So that is quite a new thought, that they do receive an award for competing. And with all that goes into that, I guess that is okay, because they have to put a lot of time and effort and probably a lot of money into practicing. It takes a lot of time. You have to be committed. You have to have a passion for it. And so I'm amazed that they do get compensated for that. But I guess it's okay, but it certainly wouldn't be my incentive for being an Olympian. Mr. Tabletopics Master.
Thank you, Carol. We're going to flip-flop topics here. When this program airs, most of the kids will be back to school. I heard today that some of the kids in Indiana already started, that today was their first day of school. And as I reflected back on my school years, there was one particular first day of school that stood out. And I was wondering if there was a specific first day of school that stood out for you, Veronica.
Thank you, Mr. Tabletopics Master. I'm very fuzzy, and I certainly don't mean to flip-flop on you about my very earliest years in grade school and high school. But I do remember going back for my MBA. I was an adult. I had been out of school for years, a lot of time. And my thoughts about that were that I was an adult. It had been a long time since I had been in a concentrated period of study. And I went to Otterbein in Westerville, Ohio, just north of Columbus. I went back for my master's in business, but the first course that I took was one in computer science, and it was business related to computer science. So actually, I felt quite comfortable in that class, and I got an A, and I was very happy about that. But that is what I remember most about it. Thank you, Mr. Tabletopics Master.
Thank you, Veronica. My thoughts also went to some of the teachers that I had while I was in school. Some of the ones that I thought highly of, and some of the other ones maybe that I didn't think so highly of. And interestingly enough, I'm still friends with some of my teachers from high school. Get to see them every once in a while, communicate on Facebook a little bit. So kind of interesting to see how that social media has allowed us to connect to people like that. And I was wondering, Sheila, if you had a favorite teacher growing up and why he or she was your favorite.
Well, most of the teachers I had are probably dead, with a few exceptions. There are some exceptions of teachers who weren't that terribly much older than I was in high school. But my favorite teacher was in college as an undergraduate, and eventually I became an English major because of this English professor, who probably doesn't teach anymore because she doesn't need to. But his name is Forrest Scarborough. And Forrest Scarborough was the most fascinating English professor I have ever met. And I've attended a lot of classes. I love going to school, so I'm always taking classes. His classes were so fascinating that I could hardly wait to get there. I look forward to his classes. I look forward to astounding him with whatever I thought I'd learned. I look forward to being the teacher's pet because I thought he was so wonderful. I wanted to be as wonderful a student as he was a teacher. So Forrest Scarborough's the answer. So Forrest Scarborough, if you're still out there, hi.
Thank you, Sheila. Time to transition into the prepared speeches that we have today. And this is an opportunity for Toastmasters to earn educational awards, working from the manuals, to work on specific skills as they progress through the manuals, and to improve watching themselves here on TV Toastmasters. Today, we have two prepared speeches for you, and both of our speakers are top-notch individuals. And we look forward to seeing what they have for us today. Our first speaker is working from the Specialty Speeches Manual, project number 2, entitled Uplift the Spirit. Sheila Mudd Baker, Uplift the Spirit.
Thank you. Thank you. Many people have talked about the American dream. I think probably every person in this room has his or her idea of what the American dream is. is the American dream, as it was for slaves after the Civil War, 40 acres and a mule? Is the American dream your own house? Is the American dream your own house with 10,000 square feet and 5 acres? Is the American dream a chance to make money with as little of your own money invested as possible? Is the American dream individual or societal? What is it? Well, the dictionary, there are many dictionaries. One of the dictionaries, dictionary.com, says it's the ideals of freedom, equality, and opportunity that are traditionally held to be available to every American. So that's freedom, equality, and opportunity. If you were Irma Lazarus, who was a poet from not the last century, the century before, the 19th century, Irma Lazarus talked about freedom. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to be free. People came to America to have freedom. In fact, some of our very first settlers were people coming for political and religious freedom. They were being persecuted for what they believed. And they came to America so they could have a chance to practice their own beliefs without having those beliefs interfered with. In the 20th century, we kind of expanded that belief system on what makes one an American dream getter. We started thinking it was the car, the house, the job, the status. It changes every generation. The dream keeps changing. The dream that our great-grandparents would have had would probably be to have a safe place to live, where the children could be educated, where a person could practice either his religion or lack of religion, one way or another, without interference, a place where what that person did made a difference to his community, to the world around him. To many of us, in fact, probably all of us here, it is the ability to participate and in society and in economy in a pretty egalitarian way to one's abilities. Face it, I am never going to win the Olympics. I will never win the Olympics. I may have the right as an American citizen to try out for the Olympics. I do not have a right to get the gold medal unless I do what's necessary to get a gold medal. I have a right to try to be rich. The chances are small because I have no idea how to do that. But if I did, I would have the right to pursue that. And no one could tell me I wasn't allowed to do so. The American dream is different for Carol, and it is different for Michelle. The American dream is different for Veronica, and it's different for Rick. And it's different for Mary than it is for me. Each one of us has a dream of what we think America is. So the Declaration of Independence said it's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's the pursuit of happiness that has gotten us in a lot of trouble. As Americans, we have gotten into the rhythm of acquiring. We want to have one more of this and one more of that, and while we're at it, I have to have a bigger house, I have to have a bigger car, I have to have 14 suits instead of one suit. I have to have 12 pairs of shoes when all I needed was one. I have to have the latest mixer, the latest appliances of all sorts in my house. That's what gets us in trouble because we are searching for happiness with things. And things, so far, haven't made us very happy. So there's nothing wrong with things. I like my mixer better than I like my hand in mixing up things. The question is, what makes our American dream for us as a community and for us as human beings? Our American dream as a group is to have a fairly safe, but not completely safe, please, I don't want to be coddled, a fairly safe country in which I can pursue my strengths and abilities to the best of my ability. And that no one will stop me just because I am a woman, I am older, I live in Cincinnati, any of those reasons, only because they just want me to stop because I'm not very good at it. That's the only reason why I won't want them to stop me. I want an America where people can be educated enough to actually know what their choices are. Now you must think, well, we all know that. Well, obviously we don't, because if you watch television and listen to the radio, we're not paying any attention. We all have these bizarre ideas about everything based on commercials, based on public service announcements, based on opinions way off on both sides on every issue. We need to be educated. Our children need to be educated. We need to be educated. We also need to get in there and get our hands dirty in politics. What a terrible thing to say. It makes me cringe, because I think no sane person would want to be president of the United States. No sane person would want to be in Congress, but it used to be true that sane people did. So if we educate ourselves and are willing to have a little bit of our blood drawn, in which we have to get, and step in our local politics, that is, in our community, in our neighborhood, in our town, in our state. We're not talking about national. We're blooming where we're planted, wherever we are. And we do not use the excuse that, oh, I don't have the right degree to even talk about this. Well, go get one, for gosh sakes. It's not impossible to take one class at a time till you get to be a computer expert like Veronica. Okay. Learn what you need to learn, and don't complain. Get in there and do it. And put your money where your mouth is. Instead of complaining about what's going on around you, do something about it. Now, what do I mean by that? If you think that your street in front of your house is always a mess and there's trash there, don't just complain to your husband or wife. Call and tell the city or the county about it. Or come out there and pick it up yourself so that you don't have to look at it anymore. Volunteer to make a difference in the lives of people that you think should be better. Don't like the way teenagers act? Mentor a teenager. You're solving the problem one person at a time. So get educated, volunteer, put your money where your mouth is, be honest and true and honorable. And the American dream can be yours. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Sheila. Food for thought. Definitely food for thought. We'll take 1 minute for the evaluator to complete their evaluation. Welcome back to TV Toastmasters. We're here waiting for our next prepared speaker. The first one we had was Sheila Mudd-Baker, and her uplifting speech, Uplift the Spirit, from the Specialty Speeches Manual. But now, what we're all looking forward to is Veronica Sanford's speech from the Competent Communication Manual, How to Say It, Project number 4, Choices. Veronica Sanford, Choices.
Thank you, Rick. It's our choices that determine our life. It's what we have in here that creates how we see the world. If I'm unhappy and I go into a beautiful house, I don't even see it. If I am happy, I can go into a mediocre house and everything looks grand. It's what's in here that determines what's out there. I didn't know this when I was growing up. I wish someone had been there to tell me. But as I became an adult, I found a coach and a mentor. He happened to be my meditation teacher. And I was not very spiritual when I grew up, although I did grow up Catholic. The meditation teacher I found, I studied every day. I meditated every day, twice a day, earnestly staring at my navel. Not really. Not really. But earnestly looking inside, trying to find that point of peace. Some would say that point of intersection with God, where my thoughts went away and I could feel that presence, that light. Years went by, and years went by, and I grew in my abilities and my perception, my happiness. In 1998, my teacher died. I was devastated. I had lost somebody so close to me that was more important to me than my father or my mother in terms of how radically sitting with him had changed my point of view. I was despondent. I was depressed. But because of my inner beliefs, I couldn't possibly commit suicide. But I felt that if a truck had run over me, that would have been just fine. Time went on. I got my MBA. I got my black belt and my second and third degree black belt in Taekwondo. I bought a house. I continued on with my career. And I was happy. But something wasn't right. A friend of mine recommended a class, a professional personal development seminar, which I took. At that point, I was ready and willing to take anything just to make a shift. Sometimes anything will do. It was a crowded room, 150 people, 200 people. Started on a Thursday evening, went till late, went to work the next day, went back the next night, 4 or 5 hours, got up early the next morning, another full day. And I was learning things. My mind was going, but to be honest with you, nothing radically had shifted until one exercise. And they talked about choices. And they said, it really doesn't matter what you choose. You don't have to defend to anyone what you choose to live your life. All you have to do is make that choice. Take that step. Go forward. Choose. They brought up somebody from the audience, one of the student participants, and they talked about ice cream. What do you choose? Vanilla, chocolate? Doesn't really matter. Choose. Why did you choose that? I don't know. I just chose. Well, sounds like a pretty simple exercise, right? You choose chocolate ice cream or vanilla. I like, I don't know, either toffee or chocolate chip. But that said, we then had to turn to our neighbor and share what we got out of that lesson. Surprised me more than anybody. Surprised me even more than my partner. I said, I choose to live. I choose to live. I hadn't realized until that moment, but for the past 10 years, I had been the walking dead. My heart had been broken. I was going through the motions. Choosing to live meant opening up my heart again. Choosing to live meant to be here, now, with you, eyes wide open, present in your company now. That was scary. But compared to what I had been doing, talking to you like this the whole time, maybe nobody knew. Maybe they did. I sure did. That was then, 5, 6 years ago. Now, I ask you, what choices do you have to make in your life? Mr. Toastmaster?
Thank you, Veronica. 2 very powerful speeches today about being all that we can be and getting everything that we want from life. We'll be back in 1 minute after a message from Toastmasters International.
I'd like to begin tonight with a little joke. This farmer. He says, "Hey, hello, sorry. Let's see, seriously, folks.
Speaking in public is no joke.
Doctor says, chicken says."
For help, call Toastmasters, the public speaking support group.
The chicken.
Welcome back to TV Toastmasters. We're going to flip-flop from the prepared speech portion of our meeting to the evaluation portion of our meeting. This is an exciting piece of the meeting at Toastmasters where we provide input and feedback to the people who gave prepared speeches, telling them what they did correctly, and also providing them some insights in what they might consider to improve the effectiveness of their speech the next time it's given. During this portion of the meeting, I will transition my role to our general evaluator, and today our general evaluator is Michelle Lewis. Michelle?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Sorry, I was caught up taking my notes on that fantastic speech we just heard. So as general evaluator, I do exactly what the name implies. I evaluate everything and anything that happens during our meetings. But I do not do this by myself. I have a team of fantastic people that have been listening, paying attention, taking notes during our meeting, and that will help give the positive feedback, also feedback for improvement from our speeches as well as the other portions of our meeting. So my team consists of Veronica Sanford. Veronica was the evaluator for Sheila. Myself, I am evaluating Veronica's speech. I also have Mary Arms, who was our timer, and Kara Cornelink, who was a grammarian today. So first, I'm going to start off with the evaluator for Sheila's speech. Veronica?
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Now, I will encourage all of you to come and join us here at TV Toastmasters. It's great fun, and you get an opportunity to test your skills and also see yourself on camera, which is an added piece of fun. You may not know, but Sheila is an actress, and she is an accomplished speaker with many years in TV Toastmasters and in other clubs as well. And so we give an evaluation of an experienced speaker a little bit more in depth than we would to a new speaker. We're always trying to make sure that we're encouraging, inspiring, and then providing slight words of what could perhaps be done next time in a better way that might reach the audience more closely. So what I will say is that Sheila's speech, Bloom Where You Are Planted, got me thinking. Because a lot of the time we spend watching TV, judging each other harshly perhaps, based upon photoshopped images and people with extra makeup and all the latest in fashion. All the things that wealth can provide. But bloom where you are planted encourages us to actually take action. Sheila is saying, perhaps, stop watching TV, stop judging others, get out there and do something. Make a difference. Become that rose, bloom where you are planted. So what could Sheila have done better? This is the tough part. I think perhaps the speech was a little slow to get started, and had you perhaps been able to announce your own title in the beginning of the speech to give us a hint of what was coming, that would have perhaps been needed to be a little bit impromptu, considering all things considered. But then we could have pulled it back around to the ending of it. And what I heard from you in the beginning was that our American dream consists today in our media-based society of what can I buy to fill that emptiness inside me. Something that must have been advertised today on TV must be the answer. Or that drug I can't even pronounce, that commercial that says, do you have such and such and such, and I don't even know what it is, but I better ask my doctor about it because it's got to solve my problem. When in fact, perhaps, it's that moral emptiness that comes from not contributing to society, which gives back in so many ways. So Sheila, when she advised us, perhaps, to go and mentor that teenager, can you just imagine that interaction and how much more alive the mentor would feel, as well as how much more loved the mentee would feel, and both would become better members of society. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Veronica. Veronica does such a fantastic job of evaluating. It makes me feel like, oh no, here I go. Got some big shoes to fill. But fantastic evaluation. It was a wonderful speech, and I truly enjoyed how you come in and you also tell the people in the audience about Toastmasters. So another opportunity to share about our meetings and the great fun we have here. So you did such a fantastic job of setting it up. So our evaluator for Veronica's speech is myself. So I'm filling two roles today, both as evaluator of Veronica's speech as well as the general evaluator. So Veronica's speech is evaluating how to say it. So the objective of her speech was to select the right words and sentences structured to communicate your ideas clearly, accurately, and vividly. Veronica is supposed to use rhetorical devices to enhance and emphasize ideas, and also to eliminate jargon and unnecessary words and to use correct grammar. Wow, what a fantastic and inspiring speech. And I have to tell everyone that Veronica filled in at the last minute, so she didn't even know she was speaking today, and that looked like you had rehearsed it for days and days and days. So fantastic job, and what a message. I think what I really liked about this is we've all been in the same shoes where we let life get to us, and we realize, wait a second, I'm the one who creates my destiny, and you just showed us a great example of how you created your own destiny. So let's get to the point here. So your speech topic was definitely appropriate. Did a great job there. You used simple, short, and clear words. There wasn't any fancy lingo in there, so you definitely did not use any jargon. You helped us understand exactly what you were trying to communicate. Fantastic. And vivid, descriptive words. You used words such as earnestly, perception, devastated, happy. But you made us understand you really weren't being happy. You helped us understand what you were trying to convey. You use words that, I said earlier, were vivid. We were able to understand you. You did not use any unnecessary jargon. You used proper grammar. Your speech purpose was clear. It's a very hard person to evaluate because she does things so well. One of the things that I do think you could have done a little differently because of the purpose and the objectives of the speech, but I felt you were a little light on the rhetorical devices and some of the similes. And maybe I didn't pick up on all of them, but I do feel maybe you could have put a few more in there. You could have said, when you were talking about your mentor and when he died, maybe you could have given an example of what it made you feel like getting hit by a truck versus some other things. So overall, just a fantastic speech, very emotional speech. We could tell it came from your heart. But even though you were showing emotion, you controlled yourself very well. And that's extremely hard to do. So I commend you for that. So overall, fantastic speech. Thank you, Veronica. So as general evaluator, I really can't evaluate myself on my evaluation, so I'm sure afterwards I'll go back and look and see some things that I could have picked up on or made a little bit better. So the next portion we're going to call up our grammarian, Carol Cormerlink, and Carol is going to talk to us about our proper use of words, as well as our ahs and ums, and the word of the day. Carol Cormerlink.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. I heard only one today. Other filler words, but only one and not until just now that the am here did I hear an Rick used the word of the day at least 4 times that I caught. I paid attention to the word of the day and the grammarian and all that, and listening to the speeches. Oh, we have another guest. Is a little hard to do both of them. And I was intent on listening to his great speeches and everything. I almost said the word I was going to not say. Rick, I only heard one when you said general. You messed up on that one. And one and was all I heard, and all that you did. And Michelle, only 2 so's on the table topics and 1 but. Are you aware that you like to use so? 5, 10, 15, almost 20 times. And some of them are, so I thought, oh, she likes to use so like I like to use and. Your other, in the evaluation, you had 4 ands, 2 buts, the one that I had, 2 double clutches where you had you, I. I thought you did really well. My table topics, and word of the day I used 5 times. I don't know how many ums and things I had. Veronica, I heard only 2 ands, 1 but, 1 word of the day in the table topics. And on your speech, I thought you had fantastic pauses. Rather than saying or another sort of word, you used great pauses. I only heard 1 and. I counted 4 buts. However, I thought it could also be a contrasting word rather than being a connector. I really don't put so. See, there I'm using so. I didn't really put those down as being killer filler words. You did 1 I and 1 I. That was 1 double clutch was all you had. You said I, what I. Who did I have here? Sheila, did I tell you? I don't have a really good way of, I tried to keep so you would know what you did when. And I have you 3 times, and it's hard to try to keep track. I have to find a better way of keeping track. You had 2 ands in your table topics, 2 buts, 2 so's, 1 I, 1 well. In your speech, you had 1 okay, 6 ands, 2 wells, 1 but, 1 So that, and two so's. One you know, one, when you said dream getter. That, two double clutches, that, I was. And you used a word that I wasn't quite sure. It was egalitarian or something like that. I missed the E part. Okay, because I'm going, what was okay, that was the unusual words that I had heard today. That is my grammarian report. I thought we did well in our grammar today, word of the day, flip-flop, and I will flip-flop and back to my seat.
Thank you, Carol. Carol definitely has good ears because I would have never known I said so that many times, and now I will try not to say it for the rest of the meeting. But also, I wanted to point out something that Carol did is she added some positive feedback about your great uses of pauses, which is something that, as a general evaluator, picks up what the evaluator should have suggested. So thank you for also being the general evaluator. So next I'm going to introduce Mary Arms, who's going to give us our timing report. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you. Well, hello, everyone. Well, Carol, on the word flip-flop, when you were explaining the explanation and everything, I didn't time that. So I just want to let you. In table topics, Michelle, 1 minute and 21 seconds. Carol, 1 minute and 16 seconds. Veronica, you're as bad as I am, 55 seconds. No, I already beat that, 24 seconds in another club. And Sheila, 1 minute and 17 seconds. In the speakers, Sheila, you were at 8 to 10 minute speech, and you were 8 minutes and 39 seconds. Veronica, 6 minutes and 19 seconds. In the evaluator, Veronica, 2 minutes and 52 seconds, and Michelle, 2 minutes and 54 seconds. Carol, as grammarian, where you were giving a grammarian report, 3 minutes and 48 seconds, and Michelle, 2 minutes and 40 seconds as the general evaluator. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Mary. And just to make a few other comments about our meeting today, we got started a little bit late, but considering the traffic, I'm going to count that as we really got started on time. We got in here, we hustled, we got our group together, backfilled several roles. So I appreciate everybody's willingness to jump in and backfill in roles. That's one of the great things about our club is we always have people who are ready and willing. So that's a fantastic trait of our club. I think the evaluators did a fantastic job of providing feedback. I think I did as well. Our timer and our grammarian were definitely on top of it. I think we had a great meeting today and look forward to our next one. So now I'm going to turn it over to our Toastmaster. Or, however, should I just go ahead and close the meeting because this is it. This is it. Just it. Close the meeting. All right. We have a guest from it. Mr. Toastmaster, please come on up.
Thank you, Michelle. I want to go on the record apologizing to Sheila for not introducing bloom where you are planted correctly. I used her speech, the project, as the title. I thought Uplift the Spirit was the title. So Sheila, I apologize. When Veronica came up here and she announced the title, I'm going, huh? I guess I need my bifocals while I'm up here because I had a hard time seeing how small that was. So I do apologize. My record of attending my very first Toastmasters meeting as the only male participant has been shattered because we had a male guest walk in during our meeting. So I'm okay with that. I'm definitely okay with that. And typically what we do is we ask our guests to make comments about the meeting. Are you interested in coming up and introducing yourself and saying some brief words? What is your name? Diego? Welcome, Diego.
Nice to meet you. Well, I came with three purposes for this meeting. One is Obviously, if you can see, I have a different accent. Probably I have different speech. But one of the things that I'm interested to join a group that is talking about others is how I can be more secure and more confident when I'm talking with people. So I've been seeing some members of the team that I've been talking in the past, and I see they are very inquisitive with the way that they look in the people in the eyes, and at the same time they are looking in the eyes, they are very eloquent. So I become very shy when I see a person who get into me and stay with me. So this is my first object. Even if I can speak the English in a better way, I want to be able to also connect with the person in not only talking but also in visual. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I am interested to join a group that is about speaking is have that opportunity to polish the grammar and also use the correct words in order to make sure that the message get delivered. My background basically is in sales, and I've been pretty much 10 years looking in data all the time, but I noticed that I like to talk with people, I like to research, I like to understand what's going on, and I found that even if I look the data, I need to communicate what are those insights to the people, and if I don't do that piece well, my job is basically thrown into the garbage. So, to be short, the story is, if I have some good values of what I'm talking, I need to be able to communicate in a better way and also be narrow to what I want to try to say. Sometimes I get dispersed and I want to be straightforward, like the American English is always all the time. Hey, I told you this, go for it. So it's go all the time. So that's what I want to learn. The other thing is, and I'm going to close this introduction, is there is always something that I would like to impact when I'm talking. So I want to talk from my heart, but also I want to talk with honesty. And one of the things when you see a speaker, sometimes you can read it if the speaker really mean what you want to say, or basically faking the situation. So I want to be able to continue to be genuine and also very precise what I'm transmitting. So this is what I have in my speech. So
thank you very much, Diego. I think this is a double round of applause for Diego. This is probably the best impromptu table topics from a guest that I've ever seen. So again, a round of applause, Diego. If you're here to grow personally, this is the place to do it. You get to watch yourself grow on TV Toastmasters. You're in the right place. I now get to transition the meeting back to our president, Michelle Lewis. Michelle?
Toastmaster. I agree. What a fantastic meeting and what a fantastic speech by Diego. You pretty much have given your first one and did a fantastic job. We hope to see you back. You can check us out, for those of you at home, at www.tvtoastmasters.com. Check us out. We meet the first Thursday of the month at 6 p.m. at the Anderson Community Television Station at 7850 5 Mile Road. We also meet the third Saturday of the month at 9 a.m. at the same location. So please, if you're interested in just checking us out, join us. Guests are always welcome. Again, a great meeting, and I'm going to go ahead and close our August 2nd meeting of TV Toastmasters.
Name an effective political leader in history who couldn't speak well. There aren't any.
Because when it comes to a disease,
Freedom requires leadership, and leadership requires oratory. You have to speak to be heard.
I have a dream.
It's all about personal growth and guts.
Never give in. Never, never, never.